Mind you, I did not know if such a university existed. Mind you, now I'm facing two confrontations. I do not know what I'm going to study, and I do not know where I'm going to study. But all I knew was that I was going to get into HR. But here we are. So HR is concerned with the affairs of employees at the workplace. We usually say, it's not official, but it's, we whisper, uku chini chini, that the CEO and the CFOs are the dad in an organization. They're the ones who will make those tough decisions. HR also makes tough decisions, but HR is the mother in an organization. We take care of your affairs, we listen to you, endless stories, endless complaints sometimes. We take care of your salaries as well. So majorly end-to-end all affairs of an employee in an organization, we take care of that.
He's lying. No, I'm just kidding. To some extent, he's right. So HR stands for human resource, right? So they deal with people. Let's just say HR deals with people, right? Are we together? Now, when he talks about it dealing with people, there's something that's happening right now with HR and how it's evolved. So HR can also, deals with people, but the question is, let me ask you guys, who do you think HR is looking out for the interests of? The people or the organization? The organization. Who says the organization? Raise your hand. Who says the people? Okay, many of you didn't raise your hand, so you don't know, right? And it's okay not to know, and I'll tell you why, because it depends on the organization that you go and work in. You go into an organization where the HR is really going to be for the people, then there are other organizations you go into and it's like, they're not there for you. They're there to make sure that the company makes money. Do you understand what I mean? So it's really important for you to also understand some of the labor laws that are out there. I'm still learning. I'm not in the legal side of HR. But the point is that when you're applying for jobs, make sure you understand the culture of the organization, because the culture of the organization will tell you how HR will treat the people. The culture of an organization is basically how people deal with one another, right? The values that they have, the kind of, whether they allow you to, to speak your mind, because there's some organizations you go into and if you have an idea, they'll shut it down. Others will want to encourage you to give an idea. Others will allow you to negotiate your salary. Others will not allow you to negotiate your salary. So you have to know the culture of the organization. Does that make sense? So are we clear about what HR is? Human resource, right?
Now back to you. First question. There's a hand there, Joseph.
Please make your questions quite quick, short, precise. Tulize maswali. Pia ulizeni, ukikuja nation, mshahara ya kwanza ni how much? Simple.
Thank you so much. My question is to the both of you. Why do you always tell people will call you? In essence, you don't call them back.
I think, do you want to take that?
I'm not in HR, he is asking.
Okay. It all ties down back again to the culture that an organization holds. Yeah. There is an organization that will tell you that it will not call you back, but it will not call you back. There are other organizations, for example, I will definitely call you back if I promise that I will call you back. And if I do not think that you are ideal, I go the extra mile. It's not needed per se, but I will go the extra mile and advise you and tell you, by the way, these are the gaps that I've noticed that you have. The next time you're going for an interview, please brush up on this and this and this. Perhaps you're not very eloquent. Just make sure that you know very well how to express yourself, what you can do, how you can do it. Yeah, and actually maybe even go the extra mile of recommending to you perhaps some of the skills or some of the courses that you can undertake to be able to help yourself. But the issue of calling back is all about the culture of an organization.
But I'll also add and say, I think you have to think about it from the recruiter side as well. You're getting probably thousands and thousands of applications for one job. So can you imagine that one person or two people having to call every single person back to tell them that they didn't get the job? It's not realistic in terms of time management on their side. So when you're applying for jobs, you see a lot of them now saying, if you don't hear back from us within the next 2 weeks, then don't consider yourself shortlisted or successful in this particular role, try again. Okay, so it's just because of the sheer volume of applications that are being received by recruiters right now. They just don't have the capacity to call everybody back and tell them why they didn't get the job. It's not personal.
Any more questions from the students especially?
Can we hear from the ladies, please? Yes, thank you.
All right.
My name is Winnie Joy, and I'd like to ask, which challenges do you get and how do you solve them? The challenges you occur and how do you solve them?
When you talk, please keep standing. When you talk about challenges, can you expound and tell me when you talk, what kind of challenges? As a recruiter, as somebody looking for a job, or?
As a recruiter, or all. I like to ask all. A recruiter and at the same time a person looking for a job.
Okay. Okay, I think I understand your question.
Okay, wait.
Okay.
So what we're going to do, because we're still recording for TV, we're on our Nation.Africa and YouTube as well, so we are live. So once she asks a question, then we'll take the 5 seconds, then you can respond. That's okay? Okay. Perfect. All right, so let's continue. That is question. So what challenges face the recruiter and the one looking for a job? All right? Let's hear our response.
I will answer the question on the lines of some of the challenges that face us as human resource professionals. They are a lot. Remember, we are first people, just like you. Before you put a face on us being human resource professionals, we are people dealing with everyday challenges. If the economy is haywire and it's affecting you, it's also affecting us. When you are also facing the challenges of burnout and sometimes work is a lot, it's also the same case to us. So those are some of the challenges. But one of the most difficult challenges that you have as a recruiter is identifying the right candidate. And sometimes that is why this process is tedious and long, because you do not want to find yourself again recruiting for this position. That is why sometimes it might take a while. Sometimes that is why we'll get back to you with an aptitude test. Sometimes we'll invite you for a psychometric test. Other times we'll invite you for a first interview, second interview, third interview. The reason as to why we do this is because we do not want to repeat this process again, and we want to make sure that whoever is coming to fill a position is the right person.
Absolutely. And one of the ways that you can help us to make our lives easier is to just make sure that you have really good CVs and that you present yourself properly in your professional documents. So I don't know how many of you here have a CV. I know you're still all in high school, correct? But does anybody here have a CV or a resume or has any idea on how to make one?
There's a hand up there.
Yeah. I think it's important that you start thinking about your CVs. You don't have to have paid experience to have a CV. You can volunteer in so many of the different opportunities you have in school, in your families, which organizations they've got going on, or even, like we said, find problems to solve and put those, put them as projects in your CV. And I think once you start understanding how CVs are used to capture your key experiences, your skills, then you're able now to start putting together a document that represents you and represents you well. Because I'll tell you for sure, before even we started using AI or an ATS system to now filter out CVs so that we can match the candidates to the role, people had to go through them like painstakingly. And do you know, does anyone have any idea of how long it takes a recruiter to look at a CV on average? Who thinks it's 10 seconds? Who thinks it's more than 10 seconds? Can you shout out to me maybe a figure? Someone. 10 minutes? 20 minutes? Sorry? 5 minutes? It's actually 6 seconds. the average, honestly and truly. And an ATS system does that probably in even half the amount. So if you have any spelling mistakes, if it's not formatted properly, if you don't use keywords that are high, that match you to the particular role, you're already automatically disqualified. So a lot of you are thinking that that you've matched your CV to the job, but that's not the case at all. You have to go through that job description and make sure you're applying for the role and you've highlighted the necessary skills and experience that are pertinent for that role. It's 6 seconds.
I think that also brings about the aspect of CVs and how some of us fall prey into using the same CV to apply for. Okay.
So, sorry, these things do happen, so don't you worry. Thank you so much for your questions. And then we're going to be resuming in a couple of minutes. Thank you so much, Alan. Good job.
Back. Oh yeah, we are back. Where was I?
Sorry. Yes, we're back. No, we're not.
Is yours working?
No.
So, by the grace of God again, I was gifted with an amazing voice. I can shout. So some of us fall prey into using the same CV to apply for 10 jobs, 20 jobs, 100 jobs. The thing is, every application, just as she has mentioned, is unique. And so with the uniqueness of every application, you need to tailor-make your CV for that job. So the reason as to why some of us will keep on saying I've applied for 50 jobs, 100 jobs, and I've gotten nothing is perhaps the genesis is your CV. So as we're talking about making sure that your CV is going to be filtered by an application tracking system, or by the recruiter having the advantage of liking your CV, then you have to make sure, if you're applying for a job as a HR professional, but then again you use the same job to apply, for example, for an HR officer, and you use the same job to apply for a HR assistant, maybe at company X and this is company Y, then my dear, you're going to lose out. And so, I usually say that applying for a job is a job itself. It requires time, it requires consistency, and it requires you to put the effort, the minds, and the energy to it.
Yes, and I think also when you're writing your CV, a lot of the mistakes that we see, especially from people your age, is that they're just not consistent in terms of even simple things like grammar. Those are things that will disqualify you. Because as a recruiter, I'm thinking to myself, if you didn't even take the time to look at your CV to make sure there are no spelling mistakes, everything was aligned properly, then why should I hire you for this particular role? Do you understand what I mean? Like, it's those small things that you think don't make a difference that actually make a big difference in how we view you. Like, don't give a recruiter any reason to disqualify you from the job just based on small little grammatical errors in your CV. And the other thing is, there's no need to lie, guys. Don't lie in your CV. Because a lot of you maybe will say, oh, I did this amazing grandiose thing, but you didn't. Or maybe you've exaggerated it. There's no need to lie. I think when it becomes a really tricky
Unaitwa nani? Joshua. Joshua. CV inamaanisha nini? Anyway,
who knows what CV stands for? Yes. So you can tell me. So it highlights your skills and experiences, which is good for the recruiter so that they know whether you're capable of actually doing the job. Okay? Did we answer your question? Is it Winnie?
Yeah. There was a question here from this lady as well.
Right. Wow.
Thank you very much, the two HRs. Now, my question is just about the notion of HR itself and the training. Because there have been these notions that it's not so marketable. Once you do it, people don't get jobs. And there are not so many jobs out there for those who have trained in HR. Maybe could you clarify that notion? Is it just some kind of people sweeping statements, or it is reality? Those who train in this field hardly get jobs. Thank you.
Do you want to take it first? Okay. Let me be a little bit personal to you. So even before I graduated, I already had a job. And the thing is, and I keep on telling young people, and you're young people, how you position yourself really matters. By the time I was starting my 4th year of study, I asked myself a very pertinent question that I think every person should ask themselves. The first question that I asked myself is, where do I want to work? How do I want to work? And so with answering those two questions, then I positioned myself rightly into getting to where I wanted to be. My dream organization back then and still is Nation Media Group. So what happened is quickly headed to the website, started learning about Nation Media Group, put the notification bell whenever there is any job advert that comes by, and with the knowledge I was applying for an internship. So I straight away went and applied for an internship and made sure that my CV stood out. I remember it took a whole day to write that CV, but that CV worked to my advantage. So make sure you understand what are the corporate values of the organization you want to work for. Make sure that you find a way of fitting them into your CV. What are the values? What is the mission? What is the vision of the organization? And make sure that they resonate with you first. And so with so doing, I think I did that application in January. I was starting my 2nd semester for the year. I think 4 months later, I was called in for an interview, and even before I graduated, I was taken in. So one key aspect is positioning. Number 2, we need to be realistic as well as young people. I know we are Gen Zs, we all have everything at our fingerprints, and sometimes we really do not want to start from the bottom and going up. Sometimes I'm involved directly with the hiring of interns and trainees. And sometimes we don't have budgets to pay for interns and trainees. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. You call a candidate, you know very well, at the moment we do not have a budget for training this person. But then again, I also do not want to promise you heaven and tell you, maybe after 3 months, once you do a good job, we will consider maintaining you. We'll figure out where the money comes from. You call someone, you tell them there is an interview or there's a position we have for an internship. I looked at the CV, I liked it. I think I would like to have you on board. I think maybe you're missing out on something. I would like to train you, and then after that I'll consider paying you. But somebody will tell you, where do you think I'm going to get the fare to come to work? It's a genuine question, right? It is an extremely genuine question. Or somebody else will ask you, where will I get money to buy lunch? They're extremely pertinent questions. But then again, there is also value in starting with small beginnings. Even the Bible says that the Lord loves humble beginnings, right? For those who read the Bible. So the Lord cherishes humble beginnings. So do not be afraid to start from the bottom. Because there is no way you're going to leave school today and graduate with your degree in engineering. It's not wrong, but you quickly want to jump into the business of opening an engineering firm. You even do not know the basics of networking. You do not know the basics of negotiating. You do not know the basics of running an engineering firm. So it is only right that you ask yourself, where is the genesis of this career? Where does it all start? Once you figure out which organization do I want to start from. And once you figure that out, I think you will be fine. But then again, there are also isolated situations and perhaps even a whole lot of cases where people have tried all these things and it's not working. My first answer would be, go busy on your knees and ask God where He wants you to be. On this other side, I will tell you, call yourself to a meeting and ask yourself, with the time that I have, what can I do? Have you walked to KICC here and found the HR there and told them, by the way, I've looked for jobs and I've not found a job and I need one? I remember there was a case, I just recently. Somebody called the office line. They were just outside Nation Center. The phone was mapped to my extension on the desk. They told me, hello, am I speaking to HR? And I told them, yes, you're speaking to Awero from HR Nation Media Group. Who am I speaking to? They told me, I'm this and this person. They told me, I'm a student. Nimezunguka hii town, sijapata internship. Kambia, okay, what have you studied? Thank God there was a motorbike that was just, I think it passed and it did hoot. And so I asked him, are you outside Nation Center? And told him, yeah. Told them, oh, just come in. Let's talk. So we had a conversation. Told me that he has walked miles and miles looking for an industrial attachment. He was at the risk of not graduating come June, yeah, because he would have graduated in December, but because he did not get an internship, there was a possibility of him missing out. We had a conversation, and he got it. So this story is simply to tell you, what are you doing? You just can't sit there comfortably and say that I'm just shooting applications and not doing anything. Have you approached Kimberly and asked Kimberly, I have these qualifications, I've tried to do this and this, it ain't working. Could you be of help?
But even just to add on to what he's saying, the amount of people that call us and ask us for jobs. Hi, my name is so-and-so and I want a job. Okay. So what do you want me to do with that information? You understand? Yeah. Like, I feel one thing you have to understand, and the earlier you understand this, the easier it's going to be for you. Looking for a job is a job. Okay? Nobody owes you anything out there. I know a lot of you are thinking here, when you, just because umemaliza shule ama umegraduate, ukimaliza unapata tu kazi hapo hapo. It is not going to happen like that. Not in the way the world is going, not with the economy right now. I'm sorry to tell you that. Your education does not guarantee you a job. Okay? It doesn't. So that's something that you have to understand, and you have to flip your mindset and say, yes, I have these papers. It's not the thing that's going to get me a job. What are the things that are going to get me a job? You have to start thinking like that. And when you ask people to get you jobs, you have to be specific. You have to say, hi, my name is Winnie, and I graduated from MKU, and I graduated in, let's say, economics, and I currently head the student union, and as part of that, I'm able to run these events, and it really helped me grow my leadership skills. I'm looking for a role in these three organizations, and I want these three organizations because one will allow me to work remotely, one, I really like the work that they're doing, and the other, I think it's something that it's a place where I can grow and they'll invest in me. Do you see the difference between just texting somebody and saying, hi, nataka job? You know what I mean? Because even me, the question is, why should I find you a job? Just because you finished school. Why? There's so many of you here in this room. Why should any of you have a job? Because school is not going to be the only thing that's going to guarantee you that. I hope and I think that's, I'm trying to provoke you to change your mindset to understand, yes, you've done, and I'm not undermining school, please, no. Don't go to your parents and say, tulisikia hapo hakuna haja ya kwenda shule by the. No, please, don't tell them that. We're saying school has become a basic foundational level. You need to learn now how to find, we talked about skilling. We need to find other ways that you can skill and make yourself, I guess, not just valuable, but make yourself stand out and make yourself valuable. And the one way you can do that is providing solutions. Getting involved with community projects is a way you can do it. Solving problems, even within your school. Those are things that you can put on your CV. And another misconception people have about CVs is that you only need to put paid work. No. You can work and not get paid and still gain skills and experience, okay? It doesn't have to be paid work only. And because, of course, at your age, it's difficult for people to find to pay you. And, of course, even internships are becoming far and few between. So you need to look for the work. There's a key word that I want you to take away from this seminar, and it's proactivity. Nobody's going to come there and hand you a job. You won't walk into an office and say, I want a job, and they're just going to give it to you. You have to chase this thing. I know it sounds a bit like gloom and doom, but it's just reality. I think the sooner you learn that this is on you more than it is on the people out there, this is actually on you. And actually, how many jobs do you think you should apply for in a day, just out of curiosity? Who thinks 10? Who thinks less than 10? If it's less than 10, raise your hand. If it's more than 10, raise your hand. How many? Give me a number. Sorry? 10? 7? 3? Well, that was a trick question. There actually is no particular number. The point is not about quantity, it is about the quality. Remember how you were saying you just shoot your application here and there everywhere? Oh, I applied for 100. But how are you applying for 100 jobs with the same CV and you're not even customizing your cover letter? It is not the quantity, it is the quality. So you have to learn how to filter the jobs that are out there for you specifically and match your skills to the role. Otherwise, to be honest, you're going to waste a lot of time. And when you waste a lot of time, you become demoralized because all you're receiving are rejection letters. Then you start thinking it's a problem with you. It's nothing to do with you. It's just because you've not understand how to do this thing called looking for a job and job searching. It's actually a skill that you can learn. And at Career Kickstart, we teach you how to do that.
Wonderful. I think I also should add something. You're all looking at us with blank faces. That was not the intention. However, don't put yourself in a box that once I finish school, I want to go and study HR, start out as an intern, grow into the role, and finally become the head of HR or the chief human resource officer for Nation Media Group. No. Perhaps we should change that misconception today. You see, when I graduated, and when you will graduate, and when you graduated, you are going to be told, or you were told, that you've been given the powers to read and do all, emphasis on all, that appertains to the degree for which has been conferred on you. Meaning that, if at all you studied HR, you shouldn't box yourself that I can only do HR. You will wake up sometimes and realize, by the way, I think I'm actually very good with coding. How about I just go and learn a short course on coding? Perhaps you studied economics and you realize, by the way, I think I'm passionate about people and the role of HR. You decide to you walk into the College of Human Resource Professionals, you do it's a 2-year course or a 1 month, I think it's a 1-year course. do the course and get yourself into HR. So don't box yourself that I want to be an engineer, so when an opportunity avails itself for you to be a designer, go like, nah, but I didn't study that. No, go for it. I think Michelle studied, I cannot remember what, but she studied something completely different from journalism.
International relations.
Yes, international relations. So go for it and excel.
And also, just to answer your question in a nutshell, this thing of people saying, don't do this because there are no jobs in this, where are the statistics? I feel like a lot of us fall into this trap of believing what people are saying without actually having the data. Data is the thing that backs up a statement. So when you hear, for example, saying, oh no, if you go and do accounting, there are no more jobs in accounting. If you go and do HR, there are no more. Who said? Because we get jobs from so many different people, so many different companies looking for so many people in HR, so many people in accounting. Like, there's no role that I think is ever going to become fully redundant, no matter how much AI is going to come and change the way we work. Okay? So that's why it's important for you to have market awareness, because people will come and tell you things, but where is the data to back that up? So don't take everything that everybody says as the gospel truth. Okay? That's why it's important for you to do your research so that you know. There's so many reports that are coming out about the future of work. In fact, I think it was the World Economic Forum that just released the 2025 Future of Jobs report. And it's online for free. Educate yourselves. You guys spend so much time on your phones. Out of those 7-6 hours you spend, take 1 hour just to read that report so that you know where you need to upskill. Okay? So don't just make sure that whoever is giving you this information, they're able to back it up, and they back it up credibly, so that you're not being sent here and there and everywhere, without even you having an awareness of actually, is this thing what this person is saying actually true?
I think I'm always one of the biggest proponent of saying this, and I'm not discouraging blue-collar jobs, and I'm doing one of them. But technical jobs, plumbing, masonry, what other one is there? Any work that involves you being out there and doing your thing. I think that is where money is. A personal opinion.
No, it's true, even in the West. So plumbers there get paid a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yes.
Plumbers, bus drivers, even garbage collectors, by the way. Hizo makazi tunadharau huku. There, they get paid a lot of money in the Northern Hemisphere. But I feel like we've talked a lot, and I really want to hear from you guys in terms of questions, any other questions that you have.
All right, so what we'll do is that there were a couple of questions that were here, so we'll just take one question, then the rest, since they're still around, we can break for lunch. Just have a one-on-one conversation with them, just a humble request because of time, and then we'll have a photo session as well. Can we have a photo session with all of you with them? Yes? All right, thank you. So one last question to Kiana, 5 minutes.
My question will go to the both of you. So I was asking, you guys as the recruiter, you are in the office, you do get a lot of applications. Now, I know in Kenya we do have this kind of, let's say, tribalism or something like that. Is there any action taken to someone find in the office who is a recruiter, who is taking a lot of, let's say, people from their own side? Is there any action taken within you guys? Yeah.
I think I'll take that first.
Okay, Alan. So I think we can take just that and one question. You had a question? Yeah, quick one.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity. And I have a question to say. What experience would you have to this relevant for your role?
Is this relevant?
For your role.
For a HR role? What experience is relevant? Okay, you can start with the first question.
Okay. Is there any other question?
Keep your questions coming through. Remember, we'll just answer what we can, and then in a couple of minutes, we are going to break for lunch. And then once we break for lunch, please get to interact with them, with Miss Kimberly and Alan as well, so they can be able to have a one-on-one.
My name is Lucy. I was asking where Keep Status is, and which quality grades does it matter for a person to become a HR?
Okay.
Hello, my name is Marianne. My question is, can you please talk more or a bit about online jobs and the way they're talking about the scams? How can I be aware of it? Yeah, thank you.
All right, so we'll take that for now, then we can break.
All right. So the question on HR and what qualifications are needed. HR, by the way, guys, is such a broad industry. So in HR, you can have those who are dealing with like the systems and the management. So those people who, when you go into an organization, they book your leave. They're the ones who talk to you about sick pay. They're the ones who pay your salary, right? The financial aspect of HR and the management aspect. Then there's learning and development, where when you come into an organization, they do something called like, like a review, okay? So you do a review, they assess where you are and where you want to go and how that will impact the organization, right? So when we think of HR, think about it as the holistic management of employees within an organization. So within one HR department, you can have different people doing different roles, okay, within HR. The one who's paying, the one who's making sure the systems are functioning, the one now who's dealing with the legal aspects of the role, then the one now who's making sure you as an individual are developing to do the best that you can do within that organization, and they invest in you. Okay, so what the investing in you looks like, paying for you to do courses so that you can become better at the job that you're currently doing. Okay, so HR is broad. I think that's another thing you need to understand. So even when you're looking for jobs in HR, what part of HR are you looking at? There's personnel, there's the management, there's even the IT side of it, the system side of it. So be very clear when you're talking about HR, which aspects of HR are you talking about? And all you have to do is just go onto whatever platform or go onto articles, go online and just search HR and the different aspects of HR and what are the different roles. There's not just one HR role. Are we clear about that? There are very many HR roles that you can do, okay? But the core concept of HR is the management of people, whether it's through systems or whether it's through investing in people directly through like CPD courses and just ensuring that their overall well-being is managed. A big aspect of HR that's coming up is mental health and well-being. Okay, those are not departments we used to have when I was younger. So now it's becoming more and more important because people are realizing we spend a lot of time in the office, probably more time than you do at home. So my mental health has to be really taken care of even in the workplace. So they're setting up departments for mental health and well-being. That's also part of HR. Okay. I hope that answers your question. Who was it who asked that question about HR? So the qualifications that you need are going to be determined by the department or the area in which HR you want to work in. So for example, if you're going to work in mental health and well-being, then you need to go maybe into a more psychology and psychiatry-driven course, okay? If you want to work into the systems aspect of it, that's more maybe IT-driven, okay? So the qualifications will vary based on the discipline in which you're going to work in HR as a broader aspect. All right. Then you asked about online jobs and not getting scammed. I think most of the more you see, the more you apply for jobs, the more you realize which are the scams and which ones are not. You understand? It's like almost as though the more you're exposed to something, the more you're able to understand whether this is authentic or not authentic. You'll be able to pick them up the more you see them. Most jobs, but the one rule of thumb that we use is if they need to advertise through their website. Okay? No, these things that come into your DMs, be very careful. Because first of all, are they addressing you personally, or they're just saying, hi, if you want to earn 20,000 shillings a month, make sure you know. Most jobs, if they're recruiting, they won't target you. You're the one who has to look for the role. Okay? And it should come from a legitimate source. A legitimate source is like a LinkedIn profile, the company website, somebody who actually works within that organization, so that you can trace that information back to somewhere. If you can't trace that information back to its original source, it's most likely a scam. Okay? And if it has a number, call the number and find out, are you guys recruiting for this? And they'll be like, no or yes. But do your due diligence. Don't just apply. And another thing is, most jobs will not ask you to pay for you to apply for the role. Okay? I don't even legal by there, I'm not sure, but they should never ask you for money so that you can apply for the role. All right?
Wonderful. I think I should address the question of tribalism and favoritism. Again, the organization that you really want to work for should really inform what you want. So most organizations nowadays have a whistleblowing policy. So you can always complain should you ever find such issues. You can just take them up directly with the organization itself. Number two, I might be speaking to a couple of HR professionals here. As a HR, just as like an accountant or anyone else in treasury or deals with money, it is also very easy to make money by just taking money from people and promising jobs. However, it all stems down to your personal values and what you believe in and what you want to be as well. If you make an intentional choice that I want to be a person of integrity, then a person of integrity you're going to be. So it means that even if it is Kamau, or Otieno, or Nyasuguta, or whoever, and they have gone through the process, and they are qualified for the position, then take them up for the job. Why do you want to bring some person X who does not even have an ounce of an idea how that job is being done? It speaks a lot about you as an individual and how you want to shape your career to be. Remember, sometimes we forget as young people, I think I can call myself young, sometimes we forget as young people that the actions for which we take today, they definitely affect the actions or the results of whatever is going to happen tomorrow. For example, you are in school. Today you decide to steal somebody's shirt. It used to happen, and you decide not to clean your own shirt. What does that show you? That there is a shortcut. What does that promote in you? Laziness. So if you're capable of stealing a shirt today, what about when we make you CS Treasury? What are you going to do? Are you not going to steal our money? So it is upon you to make an intentional decision that I want to live and lead a right life. There is no point of taking shortcuts. And let me tell you something. Even the Lord Jesus told us the straight and narrow way is not the easiest. It's painful, it's hard. But let me tell you something, at the end of it all, for those who believe in God, is that there is a life of eternity. I'm going to feel like starting to preach, but I will not go there. There's a life of eternity out there. So if you choose to live a swindler's and a corrupt life, a life of lack of integrity, it may look fun and interesting from the beginning and all these things. But at the end of the day, are we not all going to face judgment? Same thing. If you're going to still choose to lead a life not of integrity, then let me tell you something. An interesting thing is that in most cases, if not all, it all catches up with you here
yes, it does.
on earth.
Oh yes, even if you don't believe in God.
Yeah, it all catches up with you. So just choose to do the right thing.
Yeah, and the right thing will guarantee the one thing that money cannot buy: peace. Okay?
Yeah.
There are very many CEOs out there who are bringing in the money, because a lot of you here will be motivated by money when you enter into the workforce. But I can guarantee you very quickly, money will stop being a motivator.
Yeah.
It will stop at some point. So you need to figure out what that thing is that you can do forever without ever being paid a dime.
True.
When you chase the money, you fall quicker. But when you chase the purpose, the money will come. Believe it or not. You just have to be patient with the process. And I think that's a problem that this generation has, because you see so many people making it so quickly, but that's not the reality qua ground. And unfortunately, and sometimes maybe I have to mention the media in this, they portray what the end result as a result to the journey. Okay, so you guys will only see the end result. You won't see what that person has gone through to get where they've gotten to.
True.
You understand? But there's a story. And it's a difficult one. And that's the thing about careers. They're up, they're down, they're left, they're right. Sometimes you have a job, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're being paid, sometimes you're not. But what is the one thing that's going to keep you focused and committed? Yeah? It's not going to be your papers. It's not going to be your parents. It's not going to be the money. So we really advocate for you to really go through self-awareness courses to figure out who am I and what value can I provide in this life.
True.
Okay, beyond the fame, beyond people even shouting about it. Because a lot of you think for you to be successful, you have to be at the front. You do not. Most successful people are made by those who are in the background. And the where you want to get to, you won't get there alone, by the way, just so you know. There's no I in team. I'm sure you hear that all the time. But it's true. Okay? You need to figure out a way of working collaboratively and help. As you go up, you help each other going up as well. It's really, really important. So that we can even reposition the way Africa is being seen in terms of our workforce. For us at Career Kickstart, we feel like we should be competitive with globally. This thing of people thinking that Africans are cheap labor has to end. It has to end. You're all competent enough to compete with students from China, from Russia, from France, from US. You can all do it. The main difference we see is a mindset. It's really genuinely just a mindset that you have of like, oh, if I finish school, then I'll get a job. Or if I do, no. You have to be proactive in making sure that you know what you want. And you go for it. Because there'll be more people telling you why you can't do it and less people telling you why you can. So you have to be the loudest voice in your head, as well as the gracious Lord.
Amazing. I think that brings us to an end, and I really hope that you have taken a little bit of nuggets and maybe something. I keep on saying, once you get good information, please don't keep it to yourself. Don't be selfish. Make sure that you tell the other person. You have left colleagues in the office, you've left some in school. Make sure that you spread the gospel. Don't keep it to yourself. I promised you a surprise at the end, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. It's a surprise for myself. Anyway, I wanted to end at this, and this is a surprise. We are in 2025, and perhaps maybe even 2026, God willing, I'll still say the same thing. We are in 2025. You cannot afford being good at just one thing. There are potentials for everyone, and there are opportunities for everyone. You just need to be good at it. And with that said, I'm very good at HR, but I'm also very good at radio.
Yes.
So on Sunday, you can catch me from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. I host a morning gospel show Sundays, okay? So tune in, okay? And with that, bye.
Thank you so much. So please let's give them a round of applause. Asanteni sana. And we'll have one photo op, so one with them, okay, to Wawili. So please come forward. Yes, please come forward. We just photo both of you. Yes, hapa tumbele. Yes, tafadhali. And then the rest of us, please let's be upstanding, and then I will guide you on how we'll do the group photo. That's okay? Yes. All right. Let's be upstanding, tafadhali. Very nice. That is Wabeba Maingi, our HR practitioner. So what I'm thinking is, I stand directed. So should we take the photo from you from this side there? Is that okay? Then maybe they can come closer. Yeah, we can come down. Yes. All right. Yeah, please. All right. So please, for the students ambao wako nyuma, tafadhali tukaribia mbele kidogo tu so we can have this group photo.
Kwamba zoezi hilo litajumuisha maoni ya wenyeji wanaoishi humo au kuzunguka mlima huo. Mpango huo